So quickly to give you an introduction about myself. So I'm Sandip Khetan. I'm a partner with Ernst & Young in India, and I specialize in the area of accounting and reporting. So in terms of my family background, so I'm born and brought up in Kehelgaon, which is a small town in Bihar, and we have the largest, one of the largest power plant led by NTPC, thermal power plant, and that's the reason why that town kind of became in a way a lot more prosperous than what it used to be before that. So. And I did, most of my basic education till my class 12 in government school or in Kendriya Vidyalaya. So most of my education is in Kendriya Vidyalaya. And that is, again, Kendriya Vidyalaya was, institutionalized in Kehelgaon because of NTPC. So I started my kind of journey there. And then, I was a very, very average student. In my class 10 and 12. So I scored only 68%, and today's students score, of course, 98% plus. So I am really terrified of, some of the current lot of students. So I did my class 10, class 12, and then I moved to Calcutta to do my graduation. And at the same time, I started then I got myself enrolled into a BCom course, at the same time into chartered accountancy as well as company secretaryship. So I did my CA, CS and graduation all almost together. And I kind of cleared my chartered accountancy in the year 2000. I articled from a firm in Calcutta. And I did my company secretaryship in the year 1998. So, and finished my graduation also in the year 1998. And then once I finished, I had an opportunity to participate in the campus interviews. I mean, those were the early days when Institute of Chartered Accountants of India had also started the campus placement. So I had the opportunity to participate in one of those campus placement, and HCL Technologies used to be is a company in North India, and they decided to visit Calcutta campus. Again, lucky day possibly for me. They decided to visit Calcutta campus, and they also selected me during the process of interview. And that is where my kind of a professional journey started. Back in 2001 is when I started with HCL Technologies in Noida. So I moved to Delhi from Calcutta in 2001, started my professional journey. Just to give you a perspective that, I mean, the lots happened, right? As I was preparing for my CA finals, and then I missed a term, while I was preparing for CA final because I lost my father in an accident at that point in time. So I was supposed to appear for May examination, and then something happened. There was an accident in the family, and then we lost our father, and then I had to drop that term. And then I ended up taking the November 2000 term. And then I was All India 14th rank holder. So the simple point I was just trying to make that adversity is often, there can be a lot of positive surprise at the other spectrum of adversity. So we went through a very, very turbulent time in our family. And then, we again, but when you kind of turn the page over, it was a lot of good things possibly waiting on the other side as well. So just kind of giving a perspective to this pandemic. Don't worry, even if you were to miss a term, drop a term, it doesn't matter. Life is, we've got 70 to 80 years of our life. So there's nothing to worry out there for any of you. So then I started my, in a way, as I said, I was fortunate for HCL to pick me up, and then I started my professional journey. And again, I was fairly, as I said, I was of course a rank holder. I was a rank holder in CA Inter as well. But on the work front, again, I had very limited experience. So it was very, very tough for me to, in a way, accommodate myself from the word go. So lot of extra work, lot of hard work, lot of, I would say, willingness to learn, adapt, is what helped me, in my to kind of succeed in HCL. And I was fortunate to have some of the great people I'm able to work with, and that also helped me in a way to gain the right perspective. I wasn't even aware how to operate a computer, right, when I started my professional journey, and I ended up taking up professional classes to learn how to operate Microsoft Word, Excel, MS DOS, and things like that. So it was a journey which was just started very early, as I said, and my first paycheck was for 18,000 rupees. So what I'm simply trying to say that if you start small, doesn't mean that you won't be able to kind of achieve success in your professional journey. So there is lots which all of us.
Sorry to interrupt you. Hi, Praveen this side. On the top middle corner, of the screen, if you can see there is view option, and if you click on that, you can stop the participant's annotation. So that if somebody is doing this, he'll not be able to do that.
How do I do that? I see mouse.
The last option, more, there will be more option, more. Then disable participant annotation.
Okay, let me just clear all drawings.
Right.
Okay. Guys, please just bear with me. Okay. So I was talking about my professional journey. So I started, as I said, with HCL Technologies, and then I had the opportunity to also being exposed to the world of Big Four. So KPMG was, was a consultant with HCL, and I had an opportunity to engage with them, and I then developed myself as a deep kind of interest in US GAAP. I think that's where I started, in a way, my big accounting foundation. So I worked significant, with a lot of focus on understanding nuances around US GAAP accounting, reporting, disclosures, MIS, finance function. All of that is what then I was exposed at that point in time. Spent 4 years with them, with HCL. Then I got an opportunity to work with KPMG. So then I moved to KPMG back in 2004, and then I kind of worked my way through in KPMG, and then I made partner in 2013. So that was my professional journey with KPMG, and then I moved to Ernst & Young in 2013, and then I continue to lead the practice here. Looking at the whole expertise around financial accounting and reporting over last 7 years. So talking about some of my interest areas, so I'm again a sports person. So I do play badminton. I had an opportunity as part of Kendriya Vidyalaya to represent my school at the national meet of Kendriya Vidyalaya back in 1994. So I continue to pursue the interest of badminton, and I continue to play. And that keeps me going. That helps me take out, my anger, my frustration, many things you can take out, over a playground. So that just kind of helps me a lot, to kind of calm down. So, and also of late, I've been also running, trying to be fit. So that's where, a couple of kind of interest areas on the sports side. So looking ahead, as you guys all see that, we all are living in a very, very different environment. It's extremely disruptive. But what is important for all of us is to stay positive. It is extremely important for all of us is to stay positive. For you to, come out strong on the other side of this battle, and this battle will also come to an end. It's not that this will continue in perpetuity. We all possibly looking at a window of 6 to 12 months. Next 6 to 12 months is when some of this will possibly come to an end, and an answer of that will be as and when we have a vaccine to deal with this situation, we will have an answer to deal with COVID-19 as well. So simple thing is stay positive. Don't get bogged down by small disappointments. We have a long runway to cover, and this blip of 6 to 9 months is not something which we need to worry about. We of course need to use this time. To gain the right set of expertise, to stay relevant, to be ready to compete out there in the external environment. But all of that will only depend upon how positive you are in terms of your approach, whether it is to your life, whether it's to your profession, whether it's to your education, whether it's about yourself, right? How do you see yourself, coming along in this difficult environment? So if you stay positive, I think all of the rest of the stuff will be taken care of. So moving forward to my next slide. So I'm now going to give you my take on some of the key sectors which are getting impacted because of COVID-19. So I think to put it in a very, very simple context, so when you look at sectors which are brick and mortar, right, which are traditional businesses, they are getting disrupted the most, right? Sectors which are based on digital, sectors which are based, which are in a way propelled with the use of technologies, I think they're going to continue to prosper in this disturbing time as well. So when you see companies in the information technology or ITES space, as we call it, like BPOs, KPOs, or IT application service provider, companies of the like of Infosys, Wipro, HCL, Cognizant, TCS, and many others, right, whose job is to provide ITES services, all of them are going to do well. The reason is that they're able to continue to operate at 90 to 95% of their capacity. Their customers continue to need their services because customers' IT infrastructure has become the big kind of a backbone for them continue to operate. So companies in this sector will continue to do reasonably well, and to my mind, they will also continue to hire. Right, the only reason that why they may not hire as compared to the previous time is because we are going to see a drop in the attrition rates. Because there is a drop in the attrition rates, we're going to see an impact of that in the hiring as well. But if you see, most of the companies like large IT companies, they have now come out with their growth guidance as well. A lot of them expect that their business possibly will continue at the level at what they closed for FY20 in the FY21 as well. So they'll have very little or no impact in terms of their top line or bottom line for the year FY 2021. So I think that's one thing which you need to look at. This sector possibly will continue to do well. Then the sector which will do much better than what it used to do before the pandemic is the digital and cyber. So we're seeing a lot more companies trying to adapt digital technologies or trying to be more vigilant on the cyber space, and some of the companies which are focused on this space, they are going to do well. That means there is going to be more demand for companies who are focused. So a lot of startups, they will continue to hire as they continue to get access to the fund and as things in a way stabilize. And we will see a lot more in a way requirement coming in the companies, or coming from the companies operating in the space on digital and cyber. Sector which are going to, of course, getting impacted are real estate, infra, and hospitality, or travel, tourism, right? All of these sectors will continue to be impacted to our mind, possibly next 9 to 12 months is what there will be a continuous impact disruption, and hence there could be an impact on employment, their ability to hire new kind of talent, their ability to retain the existing talent, and their ability to grow, their ability to have access to finances. So some of these sectors will continue to be impacted, but what the good thing we're seeing across corporate India, that everybody is working on to the strategy to conserve cash. So people are looking to conserve cash so that they can deal with this turbulent time. All of them are trying to make sure that they have sufficient set of cash flows so that they can meet their minimum obligations, what they need to do, and they come out stronger on the other side of the spectrum. So that's the strategy of most of these companies, is what they're looking at. We of course started seeing the flow of customers, started seeing some demand in a way coming back, but I think there will be an impact which will continue for next 9 to 12 months in some of these sectors. We expect possibly, of course, the automotive sector is going to come back faster than some of the other sector. The other good thing which is happening in India per se, that the rural economy continue to do well. Rural economy is going to continue to, in a way, support the urban economy and will provide us some balance in the overall scheme of things. Then some of the other sectors like telecom, media, communication, they're also going to do reasonably well, right? Compared to what they used to do before the pandemic. So all of you must have read about the deals made by Reliance Jio, right? So it's truly remarkable as to what they've been able to achieve, raising $20 billion during these times. And it's not only about $20 billion, it's also about the quality of investors or quality of strategic partners, what they've been able to bring on board. And to my mind is that will truly impact several sectors in the country and will create thousands of opportunities for all of us in one way or the other. And some of these opportunities will, in a way, pan out in times to come. So a simple example is, let's say, YouTube as a platform has created so many opportunities, right? Similarly, Facebook as a platform has created so many opportunities for so many entrepreneurs, so to say. Similarly, Zio as a platform possibly will open so many opportunities for us to mine the whole the country in terms of our length and in terms of the reach to the customer, reach to the audience. All of that will phenomenally increase at a cost which all of us can possibly afford. So we will see how all of that is going to play out over next 18 to 24 months. Sectors in healthcare, financial services. So healthcare, which is our hospital infrastructure, they just kind of chugging along to my mind. Of course, they've got to deal with this whole COVID-19 situation itself, but a lot of other areas where they used to make I think a lot of money and a lot of that is under stress. But I think the demand because of COVID-19, they'll continue to possibly survive and kind of do well. Financial services is very, very important for the country in a way to do well, for all of us to prosper, and they will have some losses in next 6 to 9 months, but again, a lot of them are raising capital, which will help them to flourish in times to come. In terms of the global opportunities, we will see some impact. So a lot of Indian professionals, of course, used to travel, whether if you're working for an IT company, you're working for a professional services firm, or for several other sectors. People had an opportunity to travel and work with global organizations. So because of the pandemic, we're seeing huge impact on travel, we're seeing huge impact on visa, impact on mobility of people. So the global opportunities are likely to come down from that perspective, but we will see a lot of global companies are going to do hire directly in India, right? And that is where, if you got the talent, if you're willing, I think you will get opportunities to work in a lot of large global companies sitting out of India. And return to work scenarios, we continue to see employees coming back to workplace, and depending upon the type of sector you are in, So for if you are in IT, ITES, I think we're seeing 20% of the workforce back to the workplace, but 70 to 80% of the workforce continue to operate out of work from home. A lot of companies have taken decisions that you will continue to work from home till September. Some of them have extended till December. And of course, companies will continue to watch out this. One of the biggest reason of this continuing impact is, of course, in India, the cases continue to increase, and in US. The cases continue to, in a way, increase. I think so. We have increase in cases in Latin America. We have increase in cases in North America, and then of course increase in cases in India and in some other part of Asia as well. So return to work will continue to be, I think, modest. I would say over next 6 to 9 months, but the productivity will continue to improve because our digital infrastructure, in a way, is helping us to be productive, helping us to do things. So a lot of work which relates to the back office, in a way, will be automated, will be enabled through a work from home culture till the time things improve. A lot of work which of course needs to be done in the front offices, like shopping malls, like banks, and I mean several other, like retail, like healthcare, for example. So several sectors where you need to have customer footfall to have better engagement. I think that is where we will see a sharper return to work. I mean, looking at some of the other opportunities, if you're thinking of starting your own practice or starting your own business, again, there is never a good or a bad time for that. It all depends upon how confident you are in a way to deal with the external environment, how confident you are to deal with the adversity, which you'll have to encounter as you begin your own journey. If you stay positive, as I would say, that everything is possible, from that perspective. Just giving you a quick summary on, how do some of the large firms operate, in terms of their structure. So what are the areas of opportunities, you need to look at. So if you think about any of the large firms, it looks at strategy, which is to say that focus on transactions. So mergers, acquisitions, valuations, is where where a lot of kind of opportunities, a lot of kind of consulting is required, where kind of people, where we have practices and people do and we do consulting. Then consulting is one big domain wherein a number of things is what we, again, large firms do for their clients. So whether whether it is a practice related to risk consulting, whether it is practice related to IT consulting, whether it is related to performance improvement. So there are several parts to the consulting practice, where we engage with our clients. Similarly, tax is another area where there are multiple competencies which exist, wherein we again engage with our clients, whether it is a direct tax, whether it is indirect tax, whether it is tax related to M&A, whether it's tax related to international taxation, whether tax related to transfer pricing, or related to automation. So there are a lot of opportunities, again, if you want to become a tax professional. And then when you look at accounting advisory, whether you look at again forensics, a lot of things is what is looked at from a professional services firm perspective. So there are different dimensions to all of this, different set of competencies, different set of mindset, which is required in all of this. So if you're looking out, looking to build a career with the professional services firm, first you need to be clear as to where is your area of interest, what is it you want to do, and then look for right set of opportunities, and then understand the opportunities in that space before you jump on in a way to an interview process. Try and understand and then you kind of make a decision that, look, this is where I want to be. Just to give you a perspective about how to find your niche, what is it, if you are looking, if you are at a stage of your life, let's say you're going to appear for a CA final, I've not been able to do, things got disrupted, and I'm going to appear, let's say, in November term, or in the following year, whatever is your thing you're going to do. So that's one stage of career. I've just kind of cleared my chartered accountancy. Now, because of this huge disruption, I'm still kind of figuring out what to do. I'm looking for opportunities out there. Or if you are an experienced professional, right? Participating in this discussion. So I think the key for all of us to be successful is focus on interpersonal and focus on your communication skills. I think this is non-negotiable, right? When I say non-negotiable for your success in whether it's in corporate or in non-corporate life, when you look at, you got to make sure that you work on your ability to build relationships, right? And when I say you got to work on your ability to build relationships, you got to build relationships at all levels, right? Whether we are thinking of building relationship with your seniors, whether you're thinking relationship with your juniors, whether you're looking at building relationship within family, or outside. The key to success from a longer term perspective is that how strong is your relationship with people in the external environment, internal environment, or people out there, basically. So that's extremely important for all of us to be successful. So relationship, you may want to call it networking. Networking at times becomes a lot more transactional. So don't make your relationships transactional. Try to make relationship, which works on the principle of trying to give as much in a relationship, then you try to draw from that relationship. Because if you work with the mindset to draw from that relationship, then it becomes a transactional relationship, and you won't be able to I would say sustain that kind of relationship. So you got to make the relationship in which you're actually willing to give more than, or you can contribute more to that relationship than what you have to draw from that relationship. So just try and make this as natural as possible for your journey, in times to come, and that will help you succeed in more ways than once. The other element for success is focus on your communication skills, right? Focus on your communication skills. And again, this is non-negotiable. And a big part of communication skills is, of course, your ability to, speak English, your ability to write a good English. That's very key again for us to succeed. So as I said, I come from, again, a small town, government school where I've studied. So my English still not great, right? Because I've studied in Hindi medium. And my son English is now better than mine, in many ways. So he keep correcting me. So what I'm simply trying to say that what you need to do, if you are not strong already, right? You need to work on this. You need to work on this consciously, right? And there are several ways you can improve this. Either you start talking to yourself only in English, for example, or you start reading English newspapers. These are very simple things, but it will help you to strengthen your communication skills. And again, as I said, that's non-negotiable. So you got to improve your communication, and that you need to improve your English, and you also have to improve your concepts, right? Because when you speak out, so you can speak well, but are you speaking sense or not? That also is important, from the overall perspective. So for you to speak sense, you got to have your concepts clear. So you got to make sure that I have enough, and that's what we're just trying to say, that expand your mind space, right? In a way, are you self-aware of your competence and capabilities? If you're not, it's extremely important to be honest to yourself, right? For you to do well, you got to be honest to yourself, right? That look, this is where I stand and this is where I want to be, and hence these are the 5 things which I need to do, and I need to do it, right? Otherwise, you will just kind of thinking about lost opportunities, and there are opportunities there every day, every time, in every space and time, I think there will be opportunities. So as I said, when I started my professional journey, there were a set of opportunities. We had like 9/11, right, in 2001, which was we had a big recession till 2003, 4, and when things started looking at that point in time, we had a dot-com burst and things like that. So the whole point is that you got to stay positive. You got to be self-aware, right, as to what's going on. You got to make sure that you're self-aware, and then not only self-aware of yourself, also about self-aware of what's happening around us, right? What's happening around us. So are you reading the right things or not? So that's again, so your general knowledge has to be generally good, okay? And of course, because all of us are trying to, let's say, either complete your education or get into a professional career. So you got to make sure that your focus from a functional knowledge perspective also stay fairly sharp, from that perspective. So so I think that's also is extremely important, that your functional knowledge also stay very sharp in terms of expanding the overall personality. Now, when you go for an interview, right? Let's say I'm going for an interview, and are you really ready for that interview? Or you just because you managed to connect with somebody, your CV is now out there, the HR has called you, you cleared the HR round, now you're dealing with a functional expert. So the key is that, have you prepared well enough, right, for that interview process? Have you done your research on the industry? Have you acquired knowledge about the sector? What you're going to, where that company is, and what's the purpose of that interview, right? So you got to make sure that you prepare for that opportunity as if that's the only opportunity which you're going to have, and that's the most important opportunity which is ahead of you. I have experienced that people walk into the interview process, not even aware about the company in which they're going for an interview, not even aware about the profile for which they are being interviewed, not even a bit aware of the basics of the sector, for which they are getting interviewed. So, and also they don't have a perspective in terms of why do I hire, an individual who is coming up for an interview process, right? So make sure that you take every interview or every interaction with lot of preparedness, right? And just don't just walk into the room just because you got an opportunity to be interviewed, right? And make sure that you spend time, you prepare well, for every such interaction. And prepare, I means really prepare, write down the questions, write down the answers, understand the sector, understand the industry, understand the role, work on your communication, be aware of this environment in which all of us are operating in. Think of questions. I mean, in today's environment, there are tons of things which is out there available for you to be better prepared, for you to be ready. So just make sure that you try and leverage what is out there in a structured manner. Again, don't get bogged down with everything which is out there, but again, try and prepare yourself in a structured manner, and that will help, and the same is Same is for your examination, right? How well you're trying to prepare for your examination. So I used to follow a simple principle is that, if you were to study the whole night and then go for an examination the next morning, that's not the great strategy to my mind, right? You've got to make sure that you prepare well. You got to make sure that you revise well, right? And then, give enough time for you to reflect and refresh before you actually go and appear for the exam. So take a break, reflect and refresh before you actually go and sit in the examination hall, and then revise. I think that's, again, from my perspective, or my has worked well in terms of any kind of whether it's an interview process, whether it's an examination process, is going to help you succeed from that perspective. And then last bit is that match your skills with your passion and industry expectations. So again, don't just jump onto an opportunity. Every opportunity is important, okay? And no opportunity is small to my mind. As I said, my first paycheck was 18,000 rupees, right? So, so I think there is whole host of opportunities which is out there. The simple question is that, are you putting in your wholehearted effort in what you do, right? When you are kind of looking out there as an employee, the way I kind of looked at is employment as actually my business, right? If I'm in employment, that is my business, right? So as we look for every business, that's to how do you grow your business, right? Similarly, so how do you grow? How do you help your company to grow? And that will help, and then the company will help you to grow in your employment process as well. So you got to, and instead of cribbing about the company, instead of cribbing about the employment, the whole environment in which you are in, the whole question is, this is where we are, right? What is it we can do to make that better? What is it? How do I contribute so that I'm not the problem statement, but I am the solution to the problem? I think if you work with that mindset, you again will always, in a way, move ahead of rest of the pack. So you've got to come with a solution mindset. You've got to come, with a thinking that I'm here to contribute positively. Again, am I contributing more to the organization, or I'm drawing more from the organization? Is a very simple thing you need to look at, and that will help you to grow, get rewarded, and from that perspective. So that is what, again, has worked for me over a period of time. So I think that is what I had in terms of talking about my personal and professional journey. So and then talking about some of the key impacts, what we're seeing across sectors, some of the sectors which are not deeply impacted, some of the sectors which are just somewhat impacted, and some sectors which will do well, like digital, cyber, technology dependent workplaces, and all of that. And then how let's say large firms are organized in terms of transactions, in terms of consulting, in terms of tax, and kind of accounting advisory, and kind of other services. Is where we hire and kind of reward people. And it's a very, very large machinery in the country. So for example, if you look at all the large firms put together, it is more than 150,000 people, or close to 200,000 people who work for large firm in the country. So it's a phenomenal kind of a career opportunity. So and again, you got to understand this space better. You got to be prepared for what's ahead of you, and then things which I talked about in terms of focus on relationship, focus on communication, focus on building your network, not like making transactional, and then how do you prepare yourself for every conversation, interaction, is what possibly will help you in times to come. So with this, I will pause and I'll kind of take questions. As I said, you're free to ask questions, and you can switch on your video as you ask questions, as comfortable you are. And then we will try and take a few till the time we have time permits us to kind of continue this interaction. And I intend to do more. It's not going to be the only conversation. As we will see the progress, we'll possibly try and do at frequent interval to engage with more of you in times to come. Right. First question which I see from Neha Talikoti is that we have some time at hand. What do you suggest we should be studying? If my interest is in statutory audit, what skills are Big Four looking for? Awesome. So what is it you need to study? You use this time, right? It's very, very important for you to use this time. And a very simple thing is what you need to do is to start learning some of the digital technologies, which is all around us. So whether it is, let's say, a very simple thing about, do you really know what is a robotic process automation? What is RPA, for example, right? Or what is the meaning of Power BI, for example, or what is the meaning of analytics tools, right? When you hear about the term analytics, how do you understand more about analytics? What does it mean, right? And then, I talked about cyber, for example, right? What is out there? What is the meaning of cyber? What is the opportunities in that space, for example? Or do you understand about that space altogether, right? So you look at that. So what I'm simply trying to say, do you really know about artificial intelligence and machine learning? Okay, so we need to look at and acquire knowledge. You don't need to be an expert knowledge. Okay, you don't need to acquire expert knowledge. You got to, of course, acquire expert knowledge in what you're doing, which is, let's say, chartered accountancy. Okay, but what you can use this time is to acquire knowledge about emerging technologies, which is where, let's say, do you know about SAP? Do you know about Oracle? Do you know about Microsoft products, for example, whether it's Dynamics, Navision? I talked about some of these business intelligence tools. Do you know about robotic process automation? So all of that is what will help you, is what is being called as agile technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, natural language processing. A lot of things what we see today are going to get automated, right? And they are going to get automated by leveraging some of these agile technologies, right? So if you get a perspective on all of that, and so that you can talk confidently about all of that. It's not that you need to start programming. We don't expect people to start programming, because we've got, let's say, data scientists, we've got programmers, we've got a set of engineers who can do the programming, but it is the role of the functional experts to connect with the technology experts and then build out a great product, for example, or a great conversation, right? So are you going to be comfortable about talking about all of this is what you should try and achieve over next 3 to 6 months. Now, when you look for audit as a career opportunity, for example, so you need to have deep understanding or good understanding, I would say, of the audit process, right? You need to have good understanding of accounting standards. So are you good at understanding IFRS or Ind AS from that perspective, and how good you are in terms of understanding the audit and the audit risk, right? So when you look at an audit risk, whether it is how the whole process of audit work, how do you go about understanding the client systems and processes, how you understand areas which are vulnerable or prone to fraud or error, and what audit steps you can apply to kind of deal with that. What is it you have done in your articleship period, in terms of your experience, and even if that experience is not great, how you can build the whole thought process to deal with the situation. So when you look at, again, auditing, right? So you're auditing a sales, or you're auditing a purchase, or you're auditing, a banking transaction. So again, you got to look at my finance processes, and now these processes which I need to audit. If I need to audit, how I'm going to deal with a particular situation, right? Whether it's purchase, whether it's sale, whether it's capex, whether it's banking, whether it's a closing process, or whether it's confirmations, and so on and so forth. So acquire good understanding about auditing, acquire good understanding about accounting, and as I said, make sure you work on your communication, make sure that you got good understanding of some of these emerging technologies. As I said, if you have all of that, as and when the opportunities will open up, I'm sure you'll have a good shot at it as kind of things evolve. So I'm going to take another question from Niveen. His question is, will this disruption provide an opportunity to transition from traditional and functional role of chartered accountants, CFA role, to more management focused role? Okay. So again, see, everybody, what is management? Let's just try and reflect on that. Okay. Management is very simple. All of us are managers, okay, so to say, or all of us are leaders, right? And in a way, so a very simple example is, let's say, if you are driving on the road and you are ahead of everyone just before a red light, and there's just a red light pops up, and if you ahead of everyone and you decide to just cross the red light and not stop, right? You are leader at that point in time, and your action actually is going to result in 5 more people behind you to follow you or not to follow you, right? In a way. Similarly, when you say management role means what? All of us are manager in different capacity in which we are operating in. So in every role you are a manager. So even if you are a let's say a call center guy, for example, very, very simple example, or you just started your career, right? So you are a manager in terms of how you are building relationship with your superiors, with your juniors. Even if I don't have a junior, I have peers, so how am I managing my relationship, right? So there's nothing to be say that, I'm going to move from traditional and functional role to management role to my mind. I think the world is, of course, moving at a fast pace. There's lots of things which are getting enabled through technology, and that's where we got to be comfortable dealing with the technology and the pace at which it is changing. But I think the time for you to get into, let's say, a decision-making role, there are kind of two sets of things. One is getting things done or doing things versus, let's say, taking a view or taking a decision to do things. It will take its own natural course, because you got to acquire experience, you got to understand, you got to have better perspective, you have to be ability to build consensus, and all of that comes over a period of time, right? It just doesn't come overnight. Some of those skill sets, you acquire skill sets as you grow, but what is important for you as you start your career, you have that willingness to learn, adapt, build relationship, strong communication, watch your environment, you will do well. Question, I've cleared my CA exams from Ruchika, and soon when I shared applying for the job, lockdown happened. Also, I've completed my articleship from a small firm, should apply in Big Four, do experience matters? Okay. Experience matters. If we are hiring for an experience role, we do hire for entry-level roles as well. So what is going to matter, as I said, focus on your communication, focus on acquiring right set of functional knowledge, make yourself comfortable with some of these emerging technologies. I'm sure you will get an opportunity, and focus on your network as to who can help you to get to a dialogue or a conversation or an interview. But you got to, again, buy this time. This is difficult time for everyone, from that perspective. Okay. If anybody, we can take questions from anybody who wants to come in. If you want to raise your hand, we can be on video and ask question as well. Let's just try and make it a little more interactive. So anybody who wants to just raise hand, and then we can request. Yeah, so I can see Karan Chawla has just opened up his video. Karan, you want to ask a question? Just unmute, Karan. Just unmute, Karan. Just one at a time. Vivek, we will come to you. Karan, yes.
Yeah. So my question is, how difficult is it for a person who has multiple attempts in IPCC and final CA to get into a Big Four?
Right. And when you say multiple attempts, means how many attempts? Let me ask you.
like I am appearing for final CA and this is my third attempt.
Right.
Yeah, so IPCC I have cleared in the first go, and I'm have 2 attempts in my final CA. So this is my third attempt, and since I was studying in the institute library, I realized that when the Big Fours conduct all these placements, they have these two separate lines where the second line is for people who have +2 attempts, and the first line is for people who have cleared in the first attempt. So there's like a bifurcation that happens, and of course, the first preference is given to the people who are cleared in the first attempt.
Right.
So that being said, for me, if I wanted to get into Big Four, what type of skills do I need, and what can get me a good job?
So I think I don't think so. We have any such rule, which says that if you are in second attempt or third attempt. But I think it's a game of demand and supply, right? It's a game of demand and supply. It all depends as to what's the skills, what's the kind of a talent which is available out there, right? And that's where people take decisions and do screening, do filters and things like that. But there are several ways to get into Big Four, right? It is not only about get into Big Four at the beginning, right? We hire at all levels, at all times. It's not that we only hire people at the entry level. So we hire people at all levels at all times. So you got to, as I said, if you possess the skills which I said, like I started, as I said, started my journey with HCL Technologies and then ended up in a Big Four. So it's not that we only going to hire at entry level. So you got to work on some of the areas of competencies which I said, and continue to look out the opportunity. And if not at the entry, after 2 years you acquire experience, and then again you can have an opportunity to join the large firms. So as I said, it's 200,000 people which is out working. So opportunity is immense, right? Opportunity is immense. You just need to work on that opportunity from that perspective. So that way, don't worry at all, and there will be enough opportunity for you to look for a career in Big Four. Okay.
Sandip, we have a very interesting question from Vivek Agarwal. Vivek, would you like to come on the screen and ask your question?
Vivek? Do we have Vivek?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. So, Sandeep, this is Vivek Agrawal. I'm from Delhi. I'm working with IBM right now, working in financial reporting. Alongside IBM, I'm also pursuing CMA finals for the September examinations.
Okay.
So my question is like, I'm working with IBM, and just like as you mentioned that you joined.
Sorry, you got muted. Yeah, I can't hear you, Vivek, anymore. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that I joined IBM and I'm working with CMA finals, and I'm looking at a career perspective that what should be the future. Like once I become a CMA, after that, what should I do? Should I continue with IBM, or should I look for opportunities after becoming CMA, like in the campus placements or in ENY or in KPMG? Because alongside CMA, I'm also pursuing for diploma in IFRS for the December examinations.
Right.
I have taken the classes and certification from ENY itself for IFRS.
Right.
So as a career perspective, what do you suggest? What should I do for the future?
Right. See, I think, as I said, again, no opportunity is small, and you have an opportunity to grow in every organization you are working with. Okay. Because every organization look to reward people who are contributing more than who are drawing more from the organization. Right. So just work with this simple philosophy, Vivek. It's very simple philosophy that and then of course sometimes somewhere you got to take a decision to say that I'm contributing more, but my organization is not rewarding me. Then you look at opportunities outside, right? And that's or you say that I can do more at some other place because that's what my skill set is, or that's what my kind of current thinking now, or that's where I feel more confident that I'll be able to contribute more, let's say at a big four versus let's say IBM. And then I need to now start looking out and explore the opportunities. So as you acquire a professional degree, okay, of course that offers you a platform. That becomes a platform for you to explore opportunities outside. But just not try and explore the opportunity outside just for the heck of exploring the opportunities. You got to first, because you spend time at IBM, right?
Right.
So that what relationships I have been able to build here, right? What is it I'm contributing to this organization? What is the path you see for yourself in that organization, right? Do I see a path for my success? Am I able to contribute this? Is my organization rewarding me for my contribution? And don't look for a career as next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. We've got a working life of 35 to 40 years, right? If you have 35 to 40 years of working life, so you got to make decisions based on the overall professional journey, right? Is what we're going to have. So you got to take, let's say, at the end of the 5 year of my professional experience, where I should be. Am I a manager? Am I able to make a difference at the workplace where I am, right? And then at the end of the 10 year, where do I stand? At the end of the 15 year, at the end of the 20 years, you got to take 5 year milestones. You may want to take a 2 year milestones also, depending upon your own growth ambitions and things like that. But you got to look at things holistically. Don't just kind of look at things that now I need to now jump, right? This is not the place for me. You got to make that assessment. And of course, if you believe that you can, where is it you can contribute more, right? As opposed to drawing more from that organization. And that is where you should be. That is where you should be. That's a simple philosophy. And you got to work with that mindset that I got to contribute more because this organization is my business, right? This is your business. Just think of this as my business. This is my business and I need to keep on growing this business. If you will keep on growing that business, you will do well in corporate life as well, right? That's as simple as that.
Okay, so Sandeep, actually I joined IBM just 4 months ago.
Right.
And I joined it because, I was working with some other entities.
Sure.
I went in, like this is a webinar, so I went in a seminar and where I met someone called Mr. Amit Chog from ENY itself.
Right.
And from his suggestion, I started searching job which was having the domain of financial reporting.
Okay.
And that's how I got a job in IBM. So my question was specifically to, look for other opportunities in other companies because it's been just 4 months. Although IBM has been recognizing a lot, whatever I have been doing in the past 4 months, but
Right.
still, just curious to know that what should I do because I will might be having the diploma in IFRS by December and a CMA degree as well.
Right. So I would say first complete the CMA, get the diploma done, and then take a pause and then take a decision at that point in time. Okay. And give 100% to your current organization, and that will help you assess better because you only 4 months. Just give it some more time, assess that, and because if you're going to acquire a degree, your current organization will also in a way recognize that, right? That you now a professionally qualified individual. So how they're going to look at it, and then start looking out. That's what my kind of recommendation going to be.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have other question, Praveen? Anybody?
Yeah, Sandeep, we have many questions flying in actually.
Yeah.
And so I would request, if we have time, we can extend it, for some more time for students to take some more questions.
Okay, we can do for another 15 minutes. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Right.
Let's
So we have project. So a lot of questions are coming from areas, related to upskilling and reskilling themselves. And there are a lot of doubts and questions related to which area, as far as, big fours are concerned, they should choose for. So Prajakta, I could see one question from Prajakta. If you are there, Prajakta, you can, start your video and ask your question to Sandeep. Yeah, Aditi, you can ask your question. Please go ahead. Aditi, if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, Aditi.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes, very much.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that what is the future of corporate and international taxation? As we know that the litigations have gone online. So earlier we used to visit the department and get the formalities done for the client. So now as the process will be so in the next 2-3 years, the process will be whole online. So is there a possibility that the scope in the corporate and international taxation will reduce?
See, I think, at some level, right, technology is trying to help simplify things, right? Uh,
Yes.
at some level, world also is becoming complex, right? More than ever. And as you see, there are newer areas of opportunities which is going to keep coming up our way, right? So when you think about let's say opportunities now, a couple of years ago, or let's say some time ago, nobody has even thought about digital tax, right? As to say that large companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and those who operate across geographies, how they will be taxed, for example, right? And there's lots of conversation and discussion which is happening on that. So what I'm only trying to say, tax will always going to exist in a way, right? Because that's the only way governments are going to function, and that's the source of revenues they have for us to for them to operate. And then government will always continue to look for newer ways to continue to tax people. And people on the other side, of course, will look for ways to either structure tax or reduce their tax obligations, or do transactions and pay tax as well, right? In a normal way. So the opportunities will always keep on changing. What we have experienced is that the size of the opportunity is going to keep on increasing as the business keeps on increasing, as business becoming more global. Um, uh, the only thing is that the areas possibly will keep on changing. So to say, let's say transfer pricing used to be a great deal. There are lots of requirement, lots of litigation. Now, as that thing is going to settle down, for example, we may see now, because of this pandemic, lot more transactions, lot more mergers, lot more acquisitions, lot more bankruptcies, right? So we will see a lot more tax opportunities in that space. I just talked about this whole digital tax. A lot of companies are offering services across different markets. I mean, they'll need help to how to deal with that. So the opportunities, the size of the opportunities will keep on increasing, but within that, the expertise will keep on changing. But tax as a profession will continue to do well. You got to make sure that you understand the emerging challenges in taxation, and then do you have a point of view on that? Do you understand that space, and do you understand regulation in that space? And then how do you acquire knowledge, expertise, and things like that?
And also, like for a fresher chartered accountant, if I want to join advisory, which department do you think would be the most beneficial for me after this pandemic? It would be management advisory or corp tax advisory or GST, IDT.
No, when GST or IDT is tax, okay? So
Yeah.
that's a different work stream altogether. So so you got to make a decision that whether I want to specialize in tax, and that again indirect tax versus a direct tax, and then or whether I want to specialize in advisory, right? So I would say, and these are two different scheme of things. So you got to make that decision first, and there's no good or bad decision here. Okay, it is what is your area of interest, I would say. Where do you feel more excited? Where do you feel deeper curiosity, right? That this is an area where you want to learn more. This is an area you want to understand better. This is an area where you believe you can just kind of spend tons and tons of hours, so to say, without being exhausted. So what is it going to excite you more? Is it a client issue, whether running a business is something which is going to excite you more and solve problems around that, or is it a client tax problem is going to excite you more and help him solve that. That is how you should decide that. And as I said, there are opportunities available across all dimensions in which large firms operate. So just you got to take that decision.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Aditi.
All right. So next we can have Prerna Jain. Prerna, I would request you if you can, open your video or unmute yourself and speak to Sandeep.
Prerna? I think there's a question from Vimal, who's talking about articleship opportunities. Again, there are tons of opportunities. Opportunities exist. Please apply and you will be given an opportunity. Yes, Prerna, you will unmute
Yeah,
yourself.
we have a question from Anuj Goyal, Sandeep. Anuj, would you like to ask your question?
Should I ask the question? Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yes, Prerna.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Actually, I just wanted to ask you that everybody talks about that work on your core areas and identify like those areas in which you are interested. As you have already recently said that the thing which excites you even more. So I wanted to know basically those parameters through which we can actually identify that where we should work, because there are a hell lot of opportunities in the market, and at times we get ourselves confused. We find ourselves confused that where should I go, because when I start reading income tax, it excites me. When I start reading Ind AS or accounting standards, it excites me. Then it comes about auditing, and currently I'm getting interested into forensic audit as well. So choosing among all those fields or streams, so I find it quite difficult that where should I actually head, and what generally those parameters should be that through which I can identify all these things.
Okay, good question. Right. How do we figure out what we want to do or what we should be doing, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think it's a very, very, I would say, peculiar situation. All of us are at a point in time, right? So to say. So, as you said, if you read accounting, you like that. If you read tax, you like that. If you read forensic, you like that. I think the key for us is to again think is that when I'm trying to understand a particular subject or a field of expertise, right? So one is that I'm able to understand what does that mean, okay, or what is it I'm going to do if I were to become a great accountant, or if I were to become a great tax advisor, or a forensic auditor, or consultant, so to say. The question is that do I work with a mindset to solve problems, okay? So, and then when I'm trying to solve problems, so where do I get myself more excited? When I solve an accounting problem, I feel great. When I try and solve a tax problem, I feel better. Or when I try to deal with a forensic situation, that kind of excites me more in a way. Or I can actually think more and kind of solve that problem better, or kind of think of different dimensions in which this problem can be solved, from different perspectives, right? So the more you can build on your thinking, right, in a particular area, is where possibly is going to be an area of interest, right? And as I said, again, it's not necessary that you need to get it right on the first go itself. Okay, what is important is that for the first to land up with an opportunity. Okay, so let's say you get an opportunity, you like tax, you get an opportunity to work in tax, right? Work for 6 months, figure that space out, because the world in On the again other side of the spectrum is very different than what you may be thinking, from outside, right? What you may be required to do or asked to do in first 6 months may be very, very different than what you may be thinking that I'm going to do if you land up with an opportunity, right? So it's not that you're going to start solving problems just like that, right? Because first you need to learn. First, you need to learn a lot more than before you become a valuable, so to say, advisor to an external client, right? So again, work on your experience. Work on your experience. Work on your network. Look at what peers have done. Look at where are the opportunities and where again you can grow, right? I think the key is that where you can grow is where your passion is going to be. So if you're going to like tax, you got into tax, you like tax, build your career in tax, I would say, right? You got into advisory or consulting, you like consulting, build your career in consulting. Or it's not necessarily only large firms are an opportunity. You can build a very strong, robust career in industry. You can also do great if you were to do your own business, right? So there are multiple opportunities out there. You got to pick it up and then give your 100%, 110%, I would say, for you to achieve success. And all of us can crib, look, this is not what I was expecting. I'm not getting this. I'm not getting that. This guy is not up to my expectation. The key is that what is it you are doing, right, to make this a better place, to kind of contribute positively to that environment. If you work with that mindset, right, again, you will achieve success, and then, you'll have lots of opportunities to go after. I hope that helps you.
All right. Thank you, Sandeep. Sandeep, begin to take last two questions.
Yes.
Goel, I would request you if you can start your video and ask the question.
Yeah, sure. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, sir, let me give you a bit background regarding me. So, I am a recently qualified chartered, and I want to pursue my career within the external audit and Big Fours only. So, sir, right now the major question for any recently qualified chartered is whether to go for the global practices or stick to the Indian practices if we want to continue that for another 15-20 years, let's say.
Right. So I would say the opportunities are or the scale of the opportunities are different in both the delivery models, whether it's a global delivery model versus the local kind of a business of large firms. I think you should. It again depends upon what's your own appetite is going to be. But what I would again recommend this, right? Considering we are in a difficult time, right? Considering we are all of us are disrupted, the businesses are getting disrupted. Okay. So if you land up with an opportunity, whether with the global delivery or with the local business, okay, grab that opportunity. Okay, grab that opportunity, right? Spend your 6 to 12 months in that role. Understand more about the world of corporate professional services firm, right? Once you understand more about professional services firm, what is exactly is happening in that space, then don't wait too long. Okay, acquire this knowledge in 6 to 12 months, right? And then take a decision that whether you want to continue to excel where you got this opportunity, or now you think, no, I want to actually operate in the global delivery services. Okay, or I want to move to the local kind of market. Okay, so again, you got to keep your antennas up. You got to understand the professional services firm better, and try and understand the opportunities on both sides of the spectrum, and then take that decision. Because me kind of telling you, look, this is better or that is better is not a right approach. Okay. Is you got to experience that, okay, and then take a decision, and don't wait too long. Because if you were to wait, let's say 3 years, for example, before you take a decision, I think then it's going to impact your career progression, to my mind. Okay, so get into if you get an opportunity, don't hesitate. Wherever you're getting an opportunity, just get in. Work your way through for 6 to 12 months, and then make a decision for yourself.
Sir, actually, the thing was, let's say I have a lot of friends which are working in the Indian practices as well as in the global ones. So people often says that there's more probability that you can switch from Indian to global later on, but in your career, but the opposite is not possible.
Not the case. No, I'm telling you, it's not the case. In fact, as you've been hearing, it's a game of demand and supply, right? So if there is a demand to hire, right, and you already worked in the global practices, right, and it's not too long, as I said, 6 to 12 months is where it will be good enough for you to get that perspective, get that experience, build that understanding. I think there's nothing which will stop you to get hired, in wherever you want to go. It's a great brand, it's a great experience. You will learn a lot. Your perspectives will become much better for you to make that decision. And it's not the case that it works both ways. Both ways people move, and it works. It's not like that. Movement become difficult after 5 years, I would say. Okay.
So the thing was that I have previously worked with Deloitte for a few months, and right now I was about to join EY GDS within another next month. So yeah, because earlier I was thinking that once I will be done with Deloitte, I would be looking for the Indian practices. Then this COVID thing happened, and the Indian practices strictly freeze their hiring process right now. So that's why I was just having opportunities to go in the global ones. So I interviewed with that, and I was selected. But yes,
so you are making a mistake. You already work in a large firm, right? In the global delivery. Unless you want to build your career in the global delivery only, then it makes sense to just switch. That's so early in your career, right?
Sir, actually, that one was a contractual. That one was a contractual.
Okay. So then continue to explore, and as the demand, as I said, picks up, I'm sure you'll have opportunities. Don't worry.
Let's move on to the last question, Sandeep. So we have Jatin. Jatin, I would request you to please ask your question to Sandeep.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Jatin. Sir, I have my CA intermediate exams in November 2020. Okay. So I just wanted to know that how can I prepare myself for articleship in any Big Four, and what basically the interviewer expects, and how to come up to his expectations.
Right. So I would say, again, I kind of talked about some of that stuff, that how do you need to prepare yourself for interview process, work on your communication, right? Focus on building relationships, okay? Okay? Focus on acquiring the knowledge which is expected out of you at that point in time in your experience, right? So you're saying you completed CA intermediate, but you're going to appear for CA intermediate.
Sir, I'm going to appear for CA intermediate in November.
And then you will apply for articleship after that, or you can do articleship before that as well?
Sir, I can apply after that only.
After that only. So focus on clearing your exam. That's the most important thing, okay?
Yes.
As I said, focus on clearing exam. Then how do you do that? Again, revise, study hard, and clear your exam. Now, let's say now you're reasonably confident that your studies are good enough for you to clear your exam. Focus on, as I said, what is it we look for? Knowledge is auditing and accounting, okay? So do you have accounting knowledge? Do you have auditing knowledge? The two elements is what you need to focus on, building more. And then how aware you are of the general environment in which we all are operating, okay? So how are you aware of what's happening on the corporate side, what's happening on the political side, what's happening on the social side? So how well you are read, how are you reading stuff, which is out there? So make sure that you read newspapers. I think that's extremely important for you to read newspapers, read the business section, read the general section, read the political section. I think and there is of course lot of information is available for all of us to consume. So consume the right set of information, focus on that, stay confident, and you'll be able to clear it. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So thanks all of you, for your participations, for tons of your questions. And I'm sure, I hope that this was useful for all of you. As I said, we will aim to do it more, and we look forward to engage with you, and we'll try to share, different perspective as to how can you do well as you look for your studies, how you can do well as you look for your professional journey, and I love to share my experience with all of you in times to come as well. Thank you once again. Thank you very much for your participation. Praveen, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sandeep. It was an insightful session, and I'm sure that students will be able to get a lot of help from the guidance notes and the inputs which you have given. There were a lot of questions, Sandeep, which were coming on, and we could not address and take all the questions. So, do you think we can compile guidance note and send it to all of them over an email?
Yes, we should do that. We will do that for sure.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll again come up with more such webinars in future.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can end the webinar. Thank you so much, Sandeep, and thank you, Arab, for all your help.